two very interesting people in the fashion industry here in Northeast Ohio. One's a fashion photographer, the other's a model. You could probably guess who's who, but I'll let them sort of introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hartman. I'm a fashion photographer.
And I'm Ashlyn Reisner. I'm a model.
And I'm going to sort of let them speak amongst themselves, and I might just interject a few questions here. But I'm going to start with the model. And one of the basic questions I think we all have is, why did you become a model?
I became a model because I've just always been very interested in it. I started by watching America's Next Top Model. I always tried doing the poses and walking the runway like they did, and I just always wanted to dress up and look pretty, so.
Very good. Yep.
And Jeff, how come you became a fashion photographer?
Kind of fell into the role. Didn't start out necessarily wanting to be a fashion photographer, but it did help that my cousin's a designer, and I wanted to do something a little bit different to challenge myself. And honestly, working with models was definitely something that was unique. And then I really found a passion for, once I started working with the models and the fashions, how they bring the pieces to life. Like, you can literally create another world. You can create the emotion that the designer is trying to convey with their designs, and that's something that a great model like Ashlyn can bring out in a design. And it's, when at the end of the day, when you see the photos, it's just a really fulfilling type of feeling.
Ashlyn, is it easy to do everything he just said?
Not always. It can be very difficult at times. Sometimes there's a lot that goes into shoots, especially like recently. It wasn't with Jeff, but I did an underwater photo shoot. That was very difficult. I was in a 13-foot pool. I had to wear a weighted belt because I'm light and I just wanted to float. We were in the pool for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was a lot, but it definitely was worth it. It was fun. I got great pictures in the end, and
what was the motivation to go in the water for a shot?
I've always seen underwater photos. I always thought that there's something more beautiful and elegant about them because of the way the fabric flows and the way your hair flows, and you could just get different poses than you can on land.
That's interesting. And Jeff, you mentioned something about the vision of the designer.
Yes.
As a photographer, do you find translating your personal vision to the model easy or hard?
It depends on the model, but I've been very, very lucky and had to work with amazing models, so they do really make my job easy. A lot of times when I'm working on a project idea, the whole inspiration and the final images come to me kind of like in a flash. And then I work through the logistics and work it backwards. And then I many times will pick the model based on previous experience or just what I've seen in them that could convey that the best. And then I start working with them. Either through sketches or through verbal communication or through example photos that are similar kind of, just so that they can get a better handle on what we're trying to achieve. And then I also love the fact that it's a collaborative event. A lot of photographers take extreme control over a situation and everything has to be exactly perfect. But what I like is when a model can really bring their own piece of the puzzle to a shoot, because it's their personality or their alter personality if they're more of like an acting type of role. Like if it's somebody that they're not really, but they're portraying somebody, that type of experience comes out, and it really, sometimes I just am in awe at what they can do.
Do you give them homework? In other words, do you contact them, let's say, before this?
Oh, absolutely. So
they know ahead of time what to expect when they show up?
Absolutely. Every shoot we do, sometimes it's 6 months in advance, some of the ideas that we have. The dresses don't even exist yet, and we are already starting working on concepts. The one that actually Horse Couture's House of Horse is actually making for you right now, we started talking about the flame dress back in October, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's still being made. So, and we're probably not going to shoot that for another 2 or 3 months.
So actually, this vision thing, is it easy for you or hard to get that vision right?
I feel like for me, it's fairly easy. I've always been a fairly creative person. If you give me ideas, I'll sit down, I'll look on the internet, and I'll look for ideas and inspiration, and it definitely helps. It's pretty easy.
So, do you practice your poses a lot?
I do. I practice all the time. Even when I'm out with friends, I'll practice at home in front of the mirror. Just pretty much any chance I can get, I definitely practice. Practice makes perfect.
Is modeling at all stressful, or is it just a positive experience in your life?
It can for sure be stressful, for sure. Because for one, you might be running around having to do a lot of stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that goes into some shoots. Not only that, comes with social issues too. Sometimes you have to worry about people only liking you because you're a model. And sometimes you don't know who your genuine friends are. So
is this jealousy I'm hearing?
Yes, jealousy definitely comes into play. Even with people, I've had friends that they don't even attempt to model, and they'll stop talking to me because they think I'm prettier than them. And
Jeff, is there any similarity between what she just talked about for a photographer?
Single photographer, yes. I haven't had a decent date since I started doing fashion photography. I've had so many dates stand me up because we would start clicking if we met, in line at a grocery store, whatever, and we thought each other was really cool, and we'd line something up, and then come the day of the date, she no-shows. I ask why. Well, I went on your Facebook, and you work with all these beautiful women, and I can't compete, so I don't want to date you. And it's really hard to have a social life when you're always around gorgeous women.
Beautiful people.
Yes. And then also my peers, my friend, not my peers in photography, but my friends that are outside of the industry. If they're engineers or, truck drivers or whatever, they have a lot of difficulty relating because the big thing is just it's essentially the same thing, but on the other side of the coin, where they really don't understand, how to talk to me, like, hey, how's your day going, and I'm like, well, talking about photo shoots and things, and they can't relate, and so a lot of them have peeled away. I've lost a lot of what I thought were friends, and so really my clique of friends really become models and hairstylists and makeup artists and things like that, and but yeah, I think we both can agree that it's definitely difficult.